Hello Matrix Live, this is Brendan from the backend team, and today I'm with William. Hey
Hello.
William, how are you?
Hi. Good, thank you.
So you've been doing an internship with us in the backend team for the past 3, 4 months?
3 months.
3 months, yeah. And right, and so well, tell us what you've been doing, what you've been up to.
So I've mostly been working on the State Compressor, which reduces the size of Synapse database,
Right.
which is written in Rust. So I learnt
Okay.
Rust.
Yeah. It was originally started with by Eric, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Eric wrote a tool to do it, and you could run it on like an individual room, and I was expanding his tool
Right.
so it
Okay.
could be more, like, had more features and could be run across the whole database more easily.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So how does the state compressor work? What does it like? What does it do to reduce Synapse's database?
So when you have a state event in a room in Matrix, like someone joining, someone leaving, the room name changing, etc., that's a new sort of state of the room, and a state is a snapshot of all the things like who's in the room, what the room name is, etc., etc., etc. And the way that Synapse currently stores that is it looks at what the old state was and sees what the change was from that, and stores just the change. So that will be like one person joined, one row in the database. But the trouble is, if you've got a really, really old room, like say matrix.org, you don't want all of the states to be based on the previous one, because then you'd have to jump thousands and thousands of like entries back. So what Synapse does is every 100 or so hops, it will take a whole new snapshot. And a snapshot of everyone who's in matrix.org, that's a lot of
Yeah.
like
You mean Matrix HQ?
It's what I
Yeah.
mean, sorry. Matrix.
No worries.
I'm an intern. Yeah,
Sorry.
every one of those snapshots is massive.
Yeah.
So if you've got thousands of people, that's thousands of rows
Mhm.
in the table. So what you want to do is reduce the number of those snapshots required, but without increasing the number of hops backwards.
Right.
So if you restructure it so that instead of having it always based on the previous one, you can pick a sort of more sensible one to be based on, and you create a tree structure with loads of things going back to one
Right.
snapshot.
So basically, you'll reduce the size of by reducing the number of hubs to go through, you effectively just remove rows from the database.
Yeah, so the current issue is lots of duplication,
Yeah.
and you remove the duplication without in such a way that it doesn't significantly slow down reads.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So what did you do in on the what kind of work did you focus on in the state compressor?
Um, so what it was currently is you could currently specify, well, when I joined, is you could specify one room,
Hmm.
and it would load all of that, the table for that, all of the database contents for that room into memory, which for MatrixQ would just be kind of like impossible. Um, but like it works well for like a large room. It would then run on it, and then you would then manually have to send like the SQL commands that would make the compression
Right.
change.
So it would give you SQL commands to run on the
Yeah.
database. Okay.
So the first thing I did is I kind of restructured it to
Hmm.
make it, because currently it was like a not very available for extension. So I restructured it all into like a nice library, and documented it and stuff, and added tests. And then I made, one of the first things I did is added something where you could commit it to the database automatically, so you don't have to run it manually.
Right.
Then instead of having to run it all in one go, like load the whole room and then make all the changes at once, I found a way you could do it and sort of like do the first 500
Right. So in
yeah,
iterations
in
basically.
iterations, but like you save where you got up to,
Mm.
and then you can restore from where you were, and it's as if you've done it all in one go, which doesn't mean it means you don't require like gigabytes and gigabytes of
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah. That's more practical to run.
Yes, and then stuff that you just run it on the database, it finds where it wants to run, um, does that. And then I've got it working integrated with Synapse. So you can, if you have it installed, when you start Synapse, Synapse will start running the compressor every so often, and how you can configure that from Synapse.
Okay, so what's the state of that work? Like if I've got Synapse and I've got the State Compressor installed, will Synapse already run it automatically, or is it still work in progress?
So um, this all that stuff is still waiting code review.
Okay.
But um, the idea is if you haven't got the State Compressor installed, it just skips this, and if it does, it will schedule it to run however so often you've configured it.
Right. So at this point, once that's finalized, you won't have to care about running that tool manually to compress Synapse's database. Synapse will do it for you, basically.
Yes, I mean it's not tested yet on
Yeah,
like run large instances, and it may
yeah,
not work on a big
yeah.
database. So there might currently be some manual control, but the idea is that if you say you started a new Synapse server and had this on, that would work. I think that would work very well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's very very interesting because yeah, of course, one of the main issues we have with Synapse with all that data and state that we have to keep around is obviously database size, and so if we can, yeah, if there's a way to reduce that size, of course, it's especially since like it touches the state groups table, which is probably one of the biggest ones in on a matrix M server.
Yes. Yeah, I think Eric said it was terabytes on Node.
I'm not surprised. Okay, so that was kind of implied, but you also worked on adding ports, well, bindings for that state compressor to Python, because
Yes.
since Synapse is written in Python.
Yes. So Rust code works. Rust. There's libraries in Rust that allow you to natively run it from other languages. So Pio3 allows you to run Rust code from Python.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's being used in one of the Python's dependencies, Synapse's dependencies. There was discussion, the cryptography stuff.
Maybe I don't. Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Probably. I'm not completely up to speed on those specifics.
Mhm.
All right. So you didn't focus exclusively. Well, that was like your main project in your
Yeah.
internship. Uh, did you do other? Did you work on other things apart from just the state compressor?
Yes. So after I'd worked on the State Compressor a while and I wanted to start integrating it with Synapse, I was now faced with a large quantity of Python code, having not really done much Python before. So
Yeah, the Synapse code base can be pretty impressive when you start.
yes, so Brendan helped me port. So there are like module plugins you can add to Synapse, and currently there are lots of different types, and they were all configured differently. And Brendan's been working on something where you can that all have like a common configuration structure.
Yeah.
So
There is actually a matrix live for that. Just shameless plug. So yeah, if you want some more, I don't remember the exact number, but if you want more info on that, feel free to go have a look at it after this one, obviously.
yeah, so I was porting the presence router,
Yeah.
which allows you to configure it so some people's presence is forwarded to other people. And something else, the password providers, alternative logon modules.
Yeah. So yeah, the passwords. Password auth providers.
Yeah.
It's a kind of module that allows you to integrate your own login types within Synapse, and so just integrate seamlessly your custom authentication backend or whatnot into Synapse's authentication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also did a couple of the good first issue bugs on the GitHub.
Yeah, those are
which are very useful to like find a way in.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to get familiar with Synapse's code base, it's definitely good. A good place to start. And you also did You also did a bit of work on Sydent, right?
Yes, so that's what we're doing most recently. I was so Sydent's configuration was currently the file was read all over the code base, and I consolidated that all into one place. Similar to how Synapse's configuration file is only read in like one place at the beginning, and then reworking how that is so that the configuration file is a bit less confusing. And then because that basically involved reading all the code, which is less scary than Synapse.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've been adding some documentation on how things work so that it won't take as long for the
Yeah.
next person.
Yeah, you've been also documenting a lot of like the config options and
Yeah, and
things,
yeah.
yeah. Which is, given the current state of Silence config, it's definitely a huge improvement.
Yeah, and the templating, how email templates, the
Oh
like things
yeah,
you can use for that and stuff.
yeah, documenting email templates, definitely a good thing to have as
Mm.
well. All right. I think that about wraps it up. Is there anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks a lot for your time, William. It's
Thank you.
been great to have you around for the past 3 months. And maybe we'll see you again around. Oliver joined the backend team who joined the backend team in July. Used to be an intern. Yorick, who was an intern 2 years ago, was doing some consulting for on Elements last year or something like that. So maybe we'll also see you around the ecosystem at some point. And yeah, good luck for the rest of your studies.
Thank you very much.
And see you around. Bye everyone.
Bye.